Welcome to the Irish NFL show. We're here in London ahead of the Titans-Ravens game, and we're delighted to be joined by Joe Staley, lifetime 49er or career 49er, at least not necessarily your whole life, Joe. Six-time Pro Bowler, famously good left tackle, obviously named to the NFL's 2010s Team of the Decade. Joe, we're delighted to have you here. Here in London ahead of yet another game, another sold-out stadium. It's great to see the NFL spreading its wings, and it must be exciting for you being involved on a day like today.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. You know, I came out here in 2010. I think it was the third or fourth London games that we had out here, and just seeing how the sport has really grown out here in the UK, and not only just the UK, but they're playing games in Germany now, and 49ers played last season in Mexico, and just seeing the expansion globally of the NFL brand. I know the 49ers are really excited about being one of the 6 teams in the NFL to have marketing rights out here now. So we're able to do the first ever London watch party later today for the 49ers Browns game, which I'm really pumped to be at, and I can't wait to meet a lot of the UK faithful at that event.
You may not know this, Joe, but delighted to be able to enlighten you. There's actually a 49ers watch party going on in Dublin today as well.
Oh, there is.
The Irish 49ers fans are
perfect.
gathering together, so we're going to have to get you over at some stage to one of those. I'm sure they'd love to have you. I know you've been to Ireland before, but we've got to have an excuse to get you back over.
It's been way too long since I've been back there, and it was a really quick trip too when I was in Dublin. I was only there for 2 days, and I need to get back there and see a game and have a pint and some Guinness and get rowdy with the Dublin faithful as well.
Let's talk about that Browns game, and maybe let's talk more specifically about the start the 49ers have made to this season. They have looked awesome. They really look like they're firing on all cylinders. It must be exciting for you to watch this team playing the way they can.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, playing my whole career with one franchise gives me the unique ability to only root for one franchise now. And it's fun now that I'm a few years separated from playing, that I get to really just be a fan. And this team is incredibly exciting to watch. I think Christian McCaffrey coming over in our trade last year really changed the dynamic of the offense, really opened up what Kyle can do offensively, and then obviously also paired with Brock Purdy in the way that he's really taken control of that whole entire offense. And then they're also one of the teams in the NFL that's unique because they have both sides of the ball that are equally as talented. Their defense, I think, is one of the top 5, probably one of the top 3 units in the NFL currently as it stands right now, and their offense is the same. And so when they do have, inevitably throughout the course of the season, one of those sides is going to have an off night, and they're going to have another side of the ball to be able to pick them up. And I think that's what makes this team incredibly unique. And during my time in the NFL, I can't remember a team that we had that was really both sides of the ball that kind of had that claim. And this is a special team, and I know it's early. I think the season is long, and there are injuries that do happen, but where they're at right now and the roster that they've built, I think we have all the talent to make a very deep run this year.
You played in a couple of really good teams in Santa Clara. Twice went to the Super Bowl, of course, most recently in Super Bowl 54. What do you think then this team has in addition to what you guys have? Because from what you said there, it sounds like you think these guys can go the extra mile.
Yeah, I think probably compares more to the 2019 season. I think obviously the coaching staff being similar with Kyle leading that, but also how we were offensively, but defensively I think is the main what's the word I'm even searching for, the main commonality there between the two. The difference for me is because we knew in 19 that it was really a defensive oriented team. Like, they had to play really well for us to have a chance to win, and we didn't play well in the second half of that Super Bowl against the Chiefs, and we kind of put it out there, and we were able to keep up when the Chiefs went on that run. And this is a team now that has both sides of the ball. They can win a shootout if the defense is playing well, and then vice versa. If the offense is not having a day, the defense can shut out any kind of offense in the NFL. So I think that's what's exciting.
You played in this Shanahan offense. What's it like from your perspective? You're playing on the O-line. What do they do that makes them so special?
Well, it's incredibly complex, but it's also incredibly simple, if that makes sense. There is a lot of moving parts, and Kyle is amazing at really crafting and putting people in position to be successful. And I think that's what's unique about it, is that you can have Christian McCaffrey in the slot, you can have him in the wing, you can have him as a running back, you can have him out wide, you can have Debo in a lot of different positions. But as far as the offense goes, it really is just very cookie cutter, bread and butter, simple offense for an offensive lineman. There's not a lot of plays, it's just run the plays that he calls very, very well. But the pieces of where they put everybody, that's what makes it really unique.
It must be fun to see it go from the X's and O's to actually seeing those plays explode into life on the field. I mean, when you got playmakers like you mentioned, some even Debo, like Christian, like Brandon Ayuk, like George Kittle. I mean, it's a joy to watch. It must be a joy to play in as well when it's going as well as that.
Yeah, it really is. And I think one of the things, too, that's exciting is that Kyle has an understanding of knowing when you call a play in the first and second quarter, you're really not calling it. Every play wants to be a touchdown. Everyone wants to be a big play. But you're calling it for the third, fourth quarter. You're building it up to where hey, we're going to run this play to set something up later. And then when that play actually gets called in the huddle and you know that you've set it up, the anticipation before you even get to the line of scrimmage is amazing. It's like, hey, as an offensive lineman, just don't mess this up because it's going to be a touchdown. And as a receiver or running back, it's like, if I just run this play, I'm going to score points. So that's what's really unique about the offense. He has an incredible view of the chess master of being able to manipulate a defense and get exactly what he wants.
Can I just say, there's one thing I'd like to see more from as a fan, and not just because you're here. I want to see the big guys check in as eligible receivers.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to see a big man touchdown? You got a couple in your own career. You got one at least that I can
I was able to two that were actual called passes, and then one that I should have batted down, but I actually caught on accident, and I ended up getting a 7-yard loss. But I got got my hands in the ball 3 times in the NFL, and they're the highlights of my career. They're always like, everybody loves to see a big man score, big man touchdown, big man celebration. Anytime a fat guy can get out there and dance, it's always humorous to everybody. So
if anyone can make that happen, surely it's Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, and I think he's a perfect guy as well to do it with Trent Williams. I mean, that guy is an absolute athletic freak. I mean, he probably runs the same 40 as some tight ends in the NFL, if not receivers. And they do have a unique motion that they run. They've ran with him before. Maybe just slip him out and get him in the flat route and let him run.
Seeing that Cowboys result last weekend and obviously put down a statement as far as a lot of the rest of the NFL is concerned, do you think, is it worth saying now that perhaps the Cowboys rivalry isn't what it was? It might now be the Eagles that's that defining rivalry in the NFC.
Yeah, I mean, the 49ers Eagles right now, because of where they are currently, you know, I think everybody wants to see those two teams play later in the season. They're really excited about that matchup in Philly in December. But the history of the 49ers and Cowboys goes back a long, long time. And I think, you know, that rivalry is still always going to be alive and well. The fan bases hate each other. There's no love lost there. And so as long as the 49ers and Cowboys are playing, I know that will always be looked at as a rivalry game.
And tell us, how did you react to George Kittle's t-shirt?
Yeah, I loved it. I think George knows how to stir things up. You know, he definitely has that WWE mentality that he's going to get out there and he's a showman, you know, and he wore that shirt. There's a little head nod to Gary Plummer back in the 90s and the real heyday of the Cowboys 49ers rivalry. And I loved him bringing that back and then doubling down and say he'd do it again when asked about it. So I know he got fined. It's probably going to hurt his pocketbook a little bit, but George is a guy that's going to do it for the people and he's going to do it again.
If I can put you on the spot, do you think this is the year for San Francisco? You think that Lombardi is on its way to Santa Clara?
I do. I think every year is the year for San Francisco. I mean, I thought that as a player, and we went 2-14. I thought that as a player when we went to the Super Bowl. And I think that now as a fan, you know, I think that's the great thing about the NFL is that every new season gives the fan base, you know, that hope and desire that they are going to take it all the way this year. And I think the way that they're starting, you know, 5-0, and also the way that they've gone through this first half of the season, or first third of the season, and the way they're dismantling teams and really kind of just absolutely controlling the game. Why not? It's going to be a fun year, I think, for 49er fans across the globe.
Who do you think they'll play in the Super Bowl then, assuming that they get there?
I mean, I'd love to see them play the Chiefs and actually just destroy them, just to kind of avenge that 2019 season that we had against them and lost. Yeah, we owe them that. I would love for that matchup to happen again, but you know, also an interesting and also a team that's on the rise as well is the Dolphins. You know, I think there's team speed and what Mike McDaniel's able to do offensively and calling those plays. And I had a lot of respect for him as a coach and with the 49ers during that time, and love seeing him have so much success so far, so early. In Miami, so you know, they're a team in the AFC.
That would be a Yoda Luke Skywalker matchup.
That would be.
Kyle and Mike McDaniel.
That would be very interesting. A lot of storylines there for the media to talk about for sure for those 2 weeks.
One thing I'm interested in getting your thoughts on before we wrap the turf versus grass debate. You know, we saw a lot of people weighing into that, a lot of injuries this season. You know, I'm just thinking even David Bakhtiari played in your own position, who's been very vocal about the issue. Travis Kelce weighed in strongly alongside his brother Jason. It's a big thing in the NFL for the players at the moment. What's your own view?
My own view is I always loved playing on grass. I mean, that was my favorite. Never really liked playing on turf. I don't know about if it really raises, as far as the data, as it raises the injury, but it makes sense. You know, I know as an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman, there's a lot more, you know, you're putting on your body as far as the stress when the turf is not giving way, and I definitely would feel it throughout my career playing on turf. My knees and my joints, you know, feeling a lot different after a game as opposed to it did on grass, and I think it's just kind of a natural, softer surface that gives. But I would say, yeah, I mean, for me, from a personal perspective, as a player, grass always against turf. Yeah.
We got grass here on the field at Tottenham Stadium, obviously, but one of the things that's been interesting in terms of how different teams approach these games is the amount of time you spend in London beforehand. We saw with the Bills last weekend against the Jags, they came in, did the tight turnaround, that didn't seem to work out too well. And again, both teams this weekend, one spending the best part of the week here, the Ravens, the other, the Titans coming in with quite a short amount of time to get ready. What do you think is the best way to approach this?
Spend the whole week here. We did it both times when we played in 2010 and 13. Spent the whole week. We played on the East Coast, flew right after our game on the East Coast. Got out here, and it takes a few days to acclimate. You know, you have to have a full week of practice, really get used to the time change and get rid of the jet lag. And I do know in 2013 when we played the Jaguars, they came over later in the week, and we got here for the whole entire first week, and you could feel it in the first half of the game. It was like, even though there was even a night game here, it was still like they were waking up. We were probably a lot better than them as a team that game, but I definitely felt like it was an advantage for us to be here for the whole entire week, and also makes it fun. You know, going over the pond and being able to be here with your family and friends is a really memorable experience for a lot of players.
Joe, it's been great to have you on the Irish NFL show. We hope that we're looking forward to at some point in the next few years, hopefully an NFL regular season game taking place in Ireland. That's potentially on the roadmap now, and hopefully we can have you in town when it does happen.
Yeah, it should be. Let's make that happen. Who do I got to call? Roger Goodell? You got to get him on the phone? Get out there and get to Dublin? Come on, Roger. Let's go. Needs to happen.
Thanks so much, Joe.
Yep.